All right, everyone. Dennis Kaye here with Belize Islands Real Estate. Today we have Wayne Marks with us. Wayne, welcome to the channel.
Thank you for having me, Dennis. Great to be here.
Yeah, so very nice to have you. So this is going to be a pretty interesting video for a lot of my clients, no matter where you're living, but especially for my clients from Canada who are looking for the best way to transfer funds down to Belize. But before we get into that, Wayne, why don't you just kind of tell us who you are and how you got involved in investing in Belize real estate?
For sure, for sure. So I'm Wayne Marks. I'm a mortgage broker here in Toronto, Canada. I'm under a mortgage firm of Integrity Tree Financial. And I personally was just looking for an investment opportunity outside of Ontario. It's the prices out here and interest rates have gone up quite a bit, and I found the margins to be squeezed a little too tight. So I started looking abroad, and I was looking at Costa Rica, Panama, those places, and then Belize kind of popped up through a financial planner out here in Canada who had said there were a few places they had in mind and recommended Belize. So I started doing some research and really liked the fact that it was English speaking only. That made things a lot easier for me since I don't speak Spanish. And I really like the entry point as well. The price point to gain access in Belize is definitely lower than some of the other countries, the popular places, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, Saint Martin, all those other places. So Belize checked a lot of boxes for me. So I came down in April. I checked out Ambergris Caye and more specifically Mahogany Bay, and did some research down there, and subsequently ended up buying. And I'm currently building. I happen to be on the same street as yourself, Dennis. And so I'm already in the process, and my project right now is scheduled to be done in May. So I started building in the summer of 2022 when exchange rates were much better than they are now. And I just found that during my process of sending money down there, it was a bit of a challenge at first because I was using my bank, and my bank has wire fees and stuff like that, and the exchange rate wasn't very good. So then I started doing some online research, and I came about a couple of different companies, one being OFX. And through some research of shopping around rates and stuff like that, I found OFX to be a little bit more favorable. But then I took it a step further when I realized that there were other Canadians on Street 7 that are building right now, and not to mention other Canadians just buying in Belize, and also realizing the benefits of investing. So I asked OFX, can we set up a partnership where any Canadians that are looking to buy down there can send their funds and potentially get like a group or volume discount? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. So the partnership has been set up, and we basically have a volume based discount. So the more clients that we get on board, the better the rates are going to be. So so it's worked out well so far for myself. The exchange rates, so I'm saving a little bit of money as I send, but I'm also saving in the sense of convenience. So for myself to send money down to Belize for my boat slip and for my build costs and stuff like that to the contractors, there are a few different people that need to receive funds. And so you've got to send them to those specific accounts and those specific beneficiaries. Through OFX, you can do it all in one shot. So you can set up your recipients or beneficiaries, do it one time. And then whenever you need to send subsequent payments, it's all done automatically online, and you can use the app or whatever's convenient for you. Okay. So it's very simple and straightforward.
Yeah, let me just kind of think this through. A lot of my clients, whether they be from Canada, the US, or Europe, is a lot of times this is going to be their first time purchasing property abroad. All right. So for example, let me kind of step back to make sure I understand. Let's say a person buys just their raw land, like you did, starting off with a piece of raw land. So this is a real deal I have right now. I have a Canadian client just put a piece of property under contract. They need to put down $15,000 in earnest money. So for that initial earnest money and for the the final closing fee in 60 days,
Mhm.
would they be able to use the OFX even for a purchase like this? And if so,
Absolutely.
how would they begin to set this up? Who could I send them to, or what website
Mhm.
to send, let's say, the initial 15 grand and then the final closing cost, let's say to Alberto's office. If Alberto's
Right.
doing the closing at Belize Key Investments, or if
Mhm.
Capital Corporate Services is using, they're using them, how do they send this Canadian money to them?
Mhm.
And is it going to a United States escrow account, or is it going right into Belize? Is there a difference between the two?
So anybody who wants to set up an account, they can. I don't need any of their information. They can go straight to the OFX website through our link, and as long as it's open through the link, they'll have access to the partnership rates.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, in order to send the funds, we just need their banking information. So it's no different than sending a wire.
Mm.
So if the beneficiary or the person who's receiving the funds in US dollars has a US account, we just need to get their bank information, the address, the account number. You put it into the system, and then it will automatically send the funds, whatever amount that you need to send. You get your quote for the day or whatever time that you want to send it, and the recipient usually gets the money within 24 hours.
Oh, very
So
nice.
it's just like sending a wire that you would at the bank. So if you physically went into your bank and said, "Hey, I want to send Dennis some funds. Here's Dennis's bank information. Send the money." It'd be the exact same thing. The only difference is you're going to get a better exchange rate, and you could do it from the comfort of your own home
Gotcha.
or on your
Gotcha.
phone.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So here's scenario number two. It's like, so I
Mhm.
understand that. Now, since
Okay.
you're having a house built, you're
Mhm.
probably having chunks of money go at different times. Is
Mhm.
this money going into the Belize system? So are you sending it to a Belize dollar account, like for a builder?
So in my situation, so for my boat slip, for my project management fees, for the contractor setup, because the company that did the boat slip and the company that's doing the build are two different companies.
Mhm.
The company doing the build wasn't available to do the boat slip, so that's why we were using two different ones. So long story short, all three of them, all three recipients have different banking information, different account numbers. So whenever they needed funds, I just sent my funds directly to them. So they provided me with a US based or US account,
Mhm.
and that's where I sent the funds. And they haven't had any issues receiving. It goes in. There's no setup fees to open an OFX account, and there's no fees to send money through OFX.
Okay.
So they receive the funds on their end without fees. You're sending them to the US or to the recipients without any fees.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right, good. So that's scenario number two. Third scenario, and I hold a lot of mortgages myself.
Okay.
A lot of my clients are Canadian.
Mhm.
Would this also work if they're sending a monthly payment?
Mhm.
Could
Yeah,
you set it up
absolutely.
for it's reoccurring?
I don't know if you can have it set up for reoccurring. That piece I don't know yet.
Okay.
But they can send you direct. There isn't like a limit or a cap or a minimum requirement to send. So, if they are sending you a mortgage payment, for example, they can wire it directly to you.
Mhm.
They can, I know they can book rates in advance. So, if your Canadian clients are kind of projecting, like in the last 3 or 4 months, for example, if you could foresee foresee where rates were going, then that might have been something that you could have done is kind of pre-book your rates prior to sending. So that's a nice little feature if you're, that in tune with exchange rates, you can
Mhm.
actually do that as well. But yeah, you could definitely have that set up with your Canadian clients for sure.
Okay. Yeah, a real life example of this. Just 3 days ago, I had a
Mhm.
Canadian client pay off a mortgage, and the
Okay.
balance that she owed was around 25 to 27,000 US, something like that. And
Mhm.
she had a heck of a time working with Wise. I guess they would
Mm.
only allow her smaller chunks to get it all
Okay.
in there before she could send it. So,
Uh,
this sounds like a perfect alternative to something like Wise. So, is it similar to Wise? So maybe you could kind of show us how this works. If you can screen share, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, and I don't mind showing. I can show my own specific account too, because though the accounts that are on there might be builders that your clients might end up using
Oh,
anyway. So,
good. Or myself.
and well, and the builders would be providing those account numbers anyway. So,
Gotcha.
I'm not too worried about any issues there. So, I'll pull up my account and I'll show you. So this is within my own account. My name is up there. So this is within my own account. I've already logged in and done my password verification and everything else. But for example, if you come in and you want to see where rates are today, you could just type in how much you want to buy. So if I want to buy 25,000 US today, it's going to give me a quote. And unfortunately, we're looking at about 34,600 Canadian today. Okay. So if I wanted to continue, I could just click on continue here. And in my account, I've already done a lot of the work. So I already have recipients listed, but I could create a new recipient here.
Okay.
Or in my case, I'll just show you for transparency. I'm going to show you my recipient list. And so once you've put in, for example, this is one of the builder's information. Once you've put it in, it's here. So nice. If I need to send Armando any more payments for my build, for example, I don't have to keep typing this in. I can just send it directly to him. Gotcha. If I need to make any edits, it's all through here. But that's the one thing that I really liked about this was that once it's in here, and you can see on my recipient list, I have the construction management team, the GBE team. That was the team that did the seawall, and actually Pink Ivory is the builder.
Yep,
is a builder that I'm using. You might be familiar with them, Dennis.
Yep.
So so once that's all in here, and then of course I've even set up my own personal account. So if I want to send US dollars to myself, and have it banked. So that was actually one of the things that I was doing as well, was that whenever I thought rates might be spiking, of course I didn't do it this time around, I probably should have, but in the summertime when rates were kind of creeping up a little bit, what I would do is buy some additional funds in US and park it in my US dollar account here in Canada. And then when I did need to send down funds, it was already in US dollars. I didn't need to convert it. So one of the things that you can do is just transfer funds to yourself if you're looking to do that as well. So it's very simple, very easy system to use. One of the other, I'm not familiar with Wise myself. Actually, when you mentioned Wise, that was the first time I had heard of them. I did some research and looking at them, and I found their rates to be, I think, on average, $50,000 to $60,000 different. Sorry. When you're exchanging that level of money, you're probably looking at about $100 to $200 difference in exchange rate. So there's a few $100s to be saved there when comparing to Wise. Another company that your Canadian clients may have been using or heard of is called Knightsbridge. And I was actually using them at first before I started using OFX. And what I found with Knightsbridge was that I physically still needed to go into the bank to process the transaction. And every time I went to my bank, I was being charged $50 to do a wire. Knightsbridge is online. You can get your quote online, but then when you get your quote, you need to email Knightsbridge, confirm it. And there's a few different processes that you need to go through with them. So OFX is very straightforward. The account process to open maybe takes you about 10, 15 minutes. You need to verify ID and stuff like that because you are sending money overseas. If you want to open a corporate account, that's actually what I did. So my account is set up through my own corporation, and I'm doing my investment through there. So that was a little bit longer, just there's more paperwork involved. But again, once it's done, you're done. Gotcha. So again, very straightforward. And actually with this partnership as well, we have a dedicated representative at OFX. So if we have any issues or any concerns or any problems like that, we have a dedicated person. So you don't necessarily need to call into a 1-800 number or go online for any help or support. We've got a direct contact. So very user-friendly.
Could you stop sharing your screen just for a second?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
There you go. Just so we're back here.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so because this is I want to start at the basics. So the benefits to using OFX is, number one, they're going to get a better exchange rate than using their banks.
100%.
And number two, they're going to save on wire fees. And number three, I guess, because it stores all the information in there, it's going to make it really easy to send repeat payments to the same client. So if you have a handful of end receivers, you put all that information in, and then it makes it really easy to send money again.
100%. Yeah,
Gotcha.
you nailed it. And their app is just as user friendly as their website.
Okay.
So, if you've got your phone out and you can't get access to your computer or whatever it may be, you can do it on your phone. You want to get a quote on your phone, you're out for that day and you want to check exchange rate, you can actually book your quote. And when you get back home, use that same quote to send your funds if that rate was better at 9 a.m. versus 4 p.m.
Gotcha. Okay. So how would they take advantage of this? You said they have to click on a special link, right?
Yes. So you'd have to go directly into the link, and I'm sure what we could do, we could share the link at the bottom of your video, or I could share my screen and show it to you now as well.
Yeah, show it to me now, and then I'll also include it in the video description that I'll type in when I post the video.
For sure. Okay. So what I'll do is I'm gonna log out for now so that you can see the main screen. Now this might just take us back to the main OFX screen, not the specific link. So let me just double check here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's going to take us back to the generic OFX screen. Okay. But I'll pull it up and show you what it looks like. There. Okay. So it's ofx.com and a P and / Wayne Marks are my initials in Real Estate Financial Solutions.
Okay, very good.
So that's what the main site would look like, and you can see that we've partnered up with a couple of other Belize based real estate firms.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, that's good news. That's good news. Yeah, because the amount of money that is pouring in from Canada to that small island, it's a tremendous. You're talking, hundreds of millions of dollars of Canadian money is pouring into Ambergris Caye, and so for everybody to get on the same page and funnel through this means it's going to save them money. It's also going to make it a lot easier for the sender and the receiver. Because I know the receivers, they're constantly getting calls and, we're missing this information, or why don't you have this information? Or to be honest, a lot of the banks too are just extremely cautious. And I understand why. I mean, banks in the Canada, United States are very cautious about sending money overseas just because they're not used to doing that a lot. But if you can show, hey, this has credibility, this is a real deal, I appreciate you doing your homework, but this is I'm wiring this money for a real purchase, for a real build. It helps them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the initial setup process, I mean, you are going to have some questions asked of you because you are sending money internationally. But again, once the account is opened, you're not being asked anything. There aren't any restrictions. You actually referenced one of your clients through Wise with the amount of money that she was trying to send, and there were some lags in sending the money. So to be perfectly transparent, one of the installments I needed to send down to for Mahogany Bay was about 70,000 US. I didn't have any issues with that. I wasn't asked anything. There wasn't any cap. Nobody sent me an email. As far as they were concerned, their due diligence was done, and I was free to do what I needed whenever I needed to do it. So, so a very smooth process from here on out, and I have no issues, recommending them because it's worked for me.
Excellent, awesome, Wayne, awesome, man. Thanks a lot for sharing this. This is good news. Did you add anything else to add in the OFX before I just change topics for a minute?
No, I mean, if any of your clients want to reach out to me directly prior to signing up, if any other questions that come up, please feel free to reach out. Again, I do mortgages by trade, but again, I'm also an investor in Belize, and so I'm going through the exact same process as a lot of your clients are already doing. So if they have questions about that, they can certainly reach out. Okay.
Is it okay with you if I put your email then in the show notes?
Absolutely, for sure.
I'll do that. Awesome. So what are you building on our street? What decide to go with?
I'm building a head sail, a converted head sail model. When I say converted, if you're doing any research and you look up head sail, you're going to see it's listed as a 2-bedroom, and I converted one of the rooms into a 3rd bedroom. So my thought process is Airbnb first, but then also, if my family wants to go down there, I've got a wife and 2 kids, we're going to have enough space for all of us, and we can also accommodate any friends or family who also want to come down. We're also putting a pool in the back. So yeah, so it should be a fun spot. It looks like there's a lot of traction going in on the street. I think most of the boat slips have already been installed on there, so that's great. And if any of your watchers follow or on YouTube, obviously if they're watching you on YouTube, they can also check me out on YouTube. I did a video when I was down there.
Oh, cool.
I did a small little video of the street and some of the progress. So YouTube at Wayne Marks. So you can check that out as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be there next Tuesday. So
yeah, we just missed each other.
Yeah, next time. Yeah, so Steph and I fly in on Tuesday, and one of the first things I'm doing is meeting with Jenny, and she's taking me through one of the models that I'm looking at building, meeting with the architect at latitude, I think it's latitude 20. So I've been interviewing both architects, and we like that duplex Tulum style model. And I'm just seeing if I can make some minor modifications to make it, really personalized for us. But yes, it's the same reason you are. We want a place to use when we're there, take family and friends, and then Airbnb it when we're not, when we're not on island. So yeah.
And it's just a little plug. Jenny's great. Jenny is who I've been working with myself, and I've been getting updates on WhatsApp on a weekly basis. So even from here in Canada, I don't feel like, I don't feel any stress or any anxiety about what's going on with my property. They keep me in the loop. They send me pictures, always updated. So never in for a minute did I feel like, a little bit of concern about what's going on down there. So Jenny is great. And I do like that latitude 20 model, actually. I was considering it, but when I bought my land and everything else, the latitude 20s, the floor plans and stuff like that weren't as readily available. So so I kind of missed out on that, but I'm still happy with my head sale.
Go ahead, 100%, man. So when I'm there, it's going to be what, about 4 to 8 weeks away from being completed?
Yeah, my timeline is slated for May. So they've started the roof on my unit right now. And when I was down there for vacation, I met with the builder, and they were projecting a May completion date. So so crossing fingers, everything looks like it's on time. He said there was a little delay in waiting for the wood for the roof, but they've got it now, and the roof should be up by the end of the month. And then they're just going to be working on the interior for April. So
awesome. What have you done with furnishing it to get it, livable? Like package,
we have
pencils, all that kind of stuff.
We haven't gotten to that stage yet. Jenny said we're not quite ready for that yet, but she did give me some ideas and some places that we could look at and consider. So my wife and I still aren't 100% certain what we're going to do or how we're going to do it yet, because of course, every time we consider anything down there, it's in US dollars. So we've actually kind of looked into potentially buying some things here and having them shipped down there. Just trying to get quotes and just to see if it actually makes sense. And then I've heard, people getting things from Mexico. Maybe you could provide some insight on what you found with some of your clients. What's been the best way to get furniture down there?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what they're going with, and there's a couple different things to look at. Number one is if it's going to be your place, just your place, then you might furnishing. You might furnish it differently than knowing it's going to be an Airbnb. Because with an Airbnb, it's going to get a lot more wear and tear, and you're not going to want to have things that are easily broken or have to be repaired a lot. So you kind of need to think about wearability for an Airbnb. But what I find is that for most of my clients, sourcing everything in Belize, if you want that Belizean look. So for example, having Granules make all the beds, the tables, the chairs, the furniture. You might go to Marab's in Belize City for some of the more plushy stuff, like if you want a sectional or something. But I find that Belizean hardwood, that mahogany, rosewood, it handles the heat well. Any sort of, those little termites, it's really, really stands up well to stuff like that. You can have stuff shipped down, so if you find, really good deal, you could send a container down, but then you have to consider import duty. So,
Mm,
they can knock you pretty hard on that because that's the way Belize government, makes a lot of their money
mm,
is through the import tax. But
sure.
yeah, I would just because I've been in several of the Mahogany Bay Village units now, and every one has been decorated just top notch. So
Mhm.
I would trust Jenny and Will and his team,
Mhm.
as far as that kind of recommendations goes, unless you want something completely unique. For example, up at Cocoa Beach, when they first started
Mhm.
building those and furnishing those, they had this Bali style. So a lot of this Balinese influence in the
Mhm.
interiors. And of course, they had to have all that shipped in. And I haven't found a
Right.
place in Belize yet that makes that style. But what you could do too
Mhm.
is just start a scrapbook or a Pinterest of all the different
Mhm.
looks you like, and then show it around and see if they can source that stuff down there.
Okay. You know what? That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I won't keep
Okay.
any longer, Wayne. I know you got work to do today, so thanks a lot. And
Mhm.
I'll put your email, the link to your YouTube channel, and the link to the OFX site in the show notes below. And people have any
Great.
questions, they can reach out. So thanks a lot, and hey, hope to see you back on island again real soon.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'll be back down in June when the house is complete, and maybe we'll run into each other.
Awesome. Sounds like a plan. Talk to you soon.
Take care, Dennis. Thank you.